What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of the Grapple Hook series. In today's episode, we are going to start to set up the Grapple Hook input, get our Grapple Hook blueprint set up, and attach the grapple line. Hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell to stay up to date on the latest uploads. There's also a link to the community Discord in the description below. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing we're going to do, in our grapple hook component, we're going to go ahead and set up a new function. We're going to call this one attempt grapple. And we're going to leave this one as public. We can go ahead and create a public category for this too. That way we can keep this all tidy. Now we got our private and our public. Now we need to set up our input action and add that to the controller. So let's go ahead and go to that. You can compile and save that. If you go to your third person character, wherever you have your inputs at, go to actions. We can actually just duplicate this jump, call it IA grapple. Go ahead and open that up. And we're going to set triggered on here. So on your triggers, go ahead and add one. And we're going to set a press trigger on here. All right, you can go ahead and close that. Go to your actions, input, your IMC default or your controller, whatever it's named. We're going to add a mapping. So hit the plus here on your mappings, go to your drop down, look for IA grapple, and I'm going to set this to the F key. So if you just click on this button keyboard here, you can set it to whatever key, press whatever key you want, and that'll set the key for you. So now let's go ahead and open up our third person character blueprint. And we'll just go down here next to jump, right click, type in IA, should bring up all of your action events, do the IA grapple. So then we need to get the grapple hook component and then drag off from there. Attempt grapple, which is going to be our function that we just made in our grapple hook component, and we're going to connect that to the triggered. Go ahead and compile and save that. And we're going to go ahead and double click our attempt grapple. That's going to take us back into our function. So we need to get the grapple state. And then off of our grapple state, we need to do a switch, do an E switch, and that should be a switch on E grapple state. Go ahead and connect that. See, so we need to get our current target. Let's go ahead and right click that, convert to valid get, and we're going to connect that to the inactive, and we can go ahead and compile and save that. And then we need to get our grapple hook set up. We don't need our grapple hook target. We don't need our third person character. So let's go to our grapple hook system folder. We're going to need our grapple hook. And if yours looks like this, you can go ahead and open up that completely. Actually, we don't need that right now. Let's go back to our grapple hook component. I'm getting ahead of myself. You can leave that open. We're going to need that, but we got a few more things we need to add in here. So now we need to spawn the grapple hook. So we're going to right click. We're going to spawn actor from class. Connect that to the is valid. We're going to set our class. That's going to be BP grapple hook. Now we need to set the location. So where our kunai is going to spawn at, where our grapple hook is going to spawn at, which is going to be the player location. We're going to go ahead and create a macro because we're going to need to call the player location a few times. That way it just makes it a little bit easier. So create a macro, and we're going to name that player location, or owner location. I'm sorry, not player location, owner, because we're going to make this to where it can be modular. So whatever the owner, the acting owner is what we're going to want to use for that. So we're going to get our owning actor, our owning character here. We're going to get actor location. And then we're just going to connect this to the output. And if you compile, you'll see this spawn transforms error we get. That's what we want to get this. We're going to split the struct on here, and the spawn transform location is where we want to plug that. And then we want to set our collision to always spawn ignore collision. Go ahead and compile and save that. Okay, so now we need to set up the grapple hook. Go ahead and go back to our BP grapple hook. We're going to add a static mesh to this. So add static mesh. And over here in our details panel, should have this uploaded already. If not, no, I don't think we did upload that. Not sure if that came with the grapple target or not, so I'll go ahead and put a link in the description that you guys can download this kunai at, just in case. We're just going to drag that in, is all we're going to do, into our grapple hook. We don't need a skeletal mesh. Should just be able to be at defaults, and hit import. Yeah, there we go. And that should import the kunai, and then just a default material. You can change the color if you want. I'm just going to leave it as white for now. Save those. Let's go ahead and make sure everything's been saved, and then we're going to set that as our static mesh. So if you click on your arrow here, that's going to make that our static mesh, and then we can compile and save that. And then we actually need to change the collision on this, so make sure your static mesh is selected over here, and then you can just type in COLL for collision. Our collision preset, we're going to set to no collision on this because we don't need collision on our kunai. And then we also need to add a projectile movement into our components. So if we just type projectile, it should pop up projectile movement. Go ahead and add one of those. Go ahead and select that. And we need to set the gravity to 0. Let's type in gravity. We're going to set that to 0 because we don't want any gravity on our kunai. We want it to be able to hit our target. We don't want it to drop as it's going towards our target. We want it to go directly to the target, so we don't need any gravity. You can compile and save that now. And then we need to set up the logic to our grapple hook so that it will be thrown at our target. So we're going to go to the event graph. So what we're going to do here is keep the event begin play. We can get rid of the other two. And we're going to set the starting location and ending location of the kunai. So let's make a variable for each one of those, and we're going to change those into vectors. So you make one and then duplicate it if you want. We're going to name the first one's going to be starting location. Second one's going to be ending location. And we want to set both of those to private. And then go ahead and make a private category on one of those and drag the other one right over the top of it to set it in that category. So we're going to get our actor location. So get actor location. And we're going to set our starting location. And that's going to be our starting location is our actor. Okay, and then our ending location we can set right after that. And for this one, we're going to get our target. So we need to set up a variable for the target. This one's going to be BP grapple hook target. That'll just be an object reference. And then we're going to name this one target. And then we want to set this one to instance editable, blueprint read only. We want to expose this on spawn, and we also want to set it to private. Go ahead and compile and save after you got all, make sure all 4 of those are ticked there. And then we can drag that over into our private category. So that's set up in our private category. So we want to get our target. And then we want to get actor location of our target. And that's going to connect to our ending location. And you can compile and save that. Now if we go back to our grapple component and we look at our spawn actor grapple hook here in our attempt grapple that we just set up, we should now have a target here. So we got our target variable. We're going to connect our current target. That's going to connect straight into our target. Compile and save that. All right, and then go back to your grapple hook. Now we need to set the direction that the kunai is going. So we need to make a variable for that. What we can do is just duplicate starting or ending location, and we're going to name that direction. And we're going to set the direction. We're going to get the ending location. Going to subtract. And then we're going to get our starting location. So we're going to subtract our ending location from our starting location. And then we're going to normalize this so that that turns that into a value of 1. And then we're going to set this to our direction. Go ahead and connect this. Compile and save that. We need to drag in the projectile movement. We're going to set velocity. It's going to come up down here at the bottom. Go ahead and connect that. We need to get direction. We're going to multiply. Shift 8 on your keyboard is what's going to pull up multiply. It does that little star. We want to set this to a float, so right click on your B pen here. We're going to promote this float to a variable. We'll call this kunai speed. So this is how fast the kunai is going to go towards the target. Go ahead and compile that. We're going to set the kunai default value here. We're going to set that to 5,000. You can compile and save that. We need to also make sure that that one is set instance editable, blueprint read only, expose on spawn, and private again. Go ahead and compile and save that. You can drag that into your private category. Sorry. And we're going to connect that to our velocity here. So let's go ahead and save that. We're going to test that out. Now you should be seeing the white kunai flying towards the target when you hit your grapple key, whatever you set it to. If you got it at F, when you hit F, you should see that kunai flying towards the target. As long as you see that kunai flying towards the target, it should be going past the target. That's fine. We're just trying to get it to go towards the target. So if that's not the case for you, there's something that you need to check. So we're going to go back into our grapple component. We should now see our kunai speed right here on our spawn actor BP grapple hook, as well as where our target is. So now we can manually set that here if we want to. We want to save the return value of the spawn actor. So we're going to right click the return value and we're going to promote that to a variable. And we're going to name this grapple hook. Go ahead and set that to private. Drag that into your private category. You can compile that. So now we need to spawn the grapple line with the kunai. So we're going to right click and we're going to spawn actor from class again. Go ahead and connect that. This time we're going to set this to BP grapple hook cable. And we're going to want this to spawn at the actor's location again. So we're going to get our owner location macro again. Right click, we're going to split the struct of the spawn transform, connect that to the spawn transform location again. And we also need to set our collision to always spawn ignore collision. And then let's go ahead and just save the return on this as well. So right click return value, promote the variable. We're going to name this one grapple cable. Make that one private as well, and drag that into your private category. And then you can go ahead and compile and save that. Now we need to set up the grapple line, the actual grapple cable. So you can open up your BP grapple hook cable, the one that looks like the telephone pole. I don't know why this keeps opening stuff on my other monitor. Go ahead and open that up. We're going to go to the viewport. When you open that up, you should see this cable here. We're going to click on the cable component, and over in the details panel, we're just going to modify this a little bit. We need to change the cable width. Cable width, we're going to set that to 5, so that's not so big. In our end location, we're going to set this to 0. The reason we're going to do this is we're actually going to set the location through the code, so that way it's in a specific, we have the ability to set the location of the grapple cable in a specific spot. So you can compile and save that. You can close that. We don't need that anymore. We're going to go back to our grapple hook component. Now we want to attach the end of the line to the kunai and the start of the line to the character. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag from the grapple line, the grapple cable set. We're going to drag from here. We're going to attach actor to component. We're going to get our owning character. And off of our owning character, we're going to get the mesh. So get mesh. And then we're going to connect that to our parent. And then in the socket name here, we're going to put hand, so lowercase h, hand underscore lowercase r. That's going to attach it to our right hand. You can put whatever you want in here. Just make sure that the socket name is spelled correctly. And then all of our locations, our top two, we're going to set to snap to target. So we're going to set all of them to snap to target. And then we can compile and save that. Now we're going to get our grapple cable. And from our grapple cable, we're going to get cable component. You may need to scroll down to find this. Yep, get cable component down here in the variables. And then from our cable component, we're going to set attach N2. We're going to connect that to our attach actor to component. Get this straightened up a little bit here. And then we need to change our component property here. We need to change that to default root, or sorry, default scene, capital D, capital S, scene root, capital R. The reason we're doing that is our grapple hook target. Our default scene root is what our static mesh is attached to. So we're going to name the component property to default scene root. And you can compile and save that. Now we need to set an offset to the grapple target. The reason we're going to do that is so that when we grapple, we go above the target instead of directly at the target. So if your target is like, you have it set directly on the ledge, your character doesn't grapple directly into the ledge. It will grapple up over the ledge. So we need to get that set up. This will also be what we're going to target to rotate the character towards the target when we grapple. So we need to get our grapple target. So open up our BP grapple hook target. We're going to create a variable. We're going to name this character offset. We're going to change this to a vector. And then we're going to make it instance editable. Blueprint read only. We're going to expose on spawn. Nope, sorry, we're not going to expose on spawn. We're going to set to private. Then there was one more thing. We need to show 3D widget. That way it shows the offset above our widget. Let's see, and then let's compile and save that. We need to set the character offset on our character offset. So once you've compiled that, it should pull up your default value. On our Z here, we need to set that to 100. That's going to set the default height 100 over the target point. So the offset will be 100 over the top of it. And now we need to make a function. We're going to call this one get character target location. And we're going to get the character offset that we just created. We're going to right click, get actor transform. And off of our actor transform, we're going to transform location. And then that location is going to be our character offset. We're going to make a return node, so add a return node, and then the return value we're going to drag off. That should make a pen for the return node, and then connect that to get character target location. Compile and save that, and we want to make sure that we set that to pure. Can't remember if we needed to do private on this one. I don't think so. I think it was just pure. Let me double check my notes real quick. Okay, yeah, we need to do pure and then constant. That was the other thing that we needed to do, because that's going to be a constant value. Okay, you can compile and save that. Now if we go back into our level editor, our map here, didn't mean to hit play. If we click on one of our points, we should now see that character offset. So now when we're setting up our character rotation, that's what the character is going to rotate towards whenever it's grappling. That way, whenever it grapples, the grapple is going to go upward. The character is going to go upwards instead of directly into the wall here. So normally, because it's basically going to go off of your root position, so you're going to hit the wall. This gives you an offset so you can go over the grapple point. All right, and then now we need to set the character to rotate to face the target when we throw at it. So we need to open up our grapple hook component, our attempt grapple function. So where we're going to do this at. We need to get our owning character. We need to set actor rotation. And one thing we did forget to do, we need to hook our grapple hook up to our actor here. That I did forget about. Go ahead and compile that. And then we're going to go ahead and make another macro. And we're going to call this owner to target. And we're going to get our current target. The reason we're doing this is just so we don't have all of this code jumbled right here. It's just much easier. We're going to continue to have to use these, so it's just easier to do it in these macros, and then we don't have all that code there. So off of our current target, we're going to get character target location, and then we're going to get our owning character, and we're going to get the actor location, and then we're going to subtract these two. Go ahead and subtract those two, and then we're going to normalize this so that it has a value of 1. And then just like our owner location macro, we're just going to plug the return value into the output, compile and save that. Go back to your attempt grapple. We're going to split the structure on this. We're going to get our owner to target, and then we're going to right click. We're going to make rotation from ZX. We want to hook this up to our X. We want to split our Z. ZX and ZY we want to have at 0, and ZZ we want to set to a value of 1. Actually, we didn't need to split this structure up here. We can recombine that one just so it's new rotation. And then we're going to connect this make rotation from ZX into our new rotation. And you can compile and save that. And let's go ahead and check that out. Make sure that that is working correctly. So now, character should rotate towards, and you should see your cable. It is supposed to go past that. It is supposed to stay there. That's normal. Don't start freaking out wondering what's wrong there. As long as it's going towards your grapple points, you're seeing the cable, and your character is moving the rotation to face the target, we're right exactly where we're supposed to be. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up for today. In the next video, we will set up the logic for the other 3 states. We do need to, real quick, let's go ahead and set our grapple state. So we're gonna just go ahead and set our grapple state after this, because when we're throwing this, we're gonna switch our grapple state from inactive to firing. Which, if you remember correctly, if we go to our event graph and our grapple hook component, that's each one of our states. So we got our inactive is already set up. Now we're into the firing. So we're gonna get the logic for the firing, the near target, and the hit target. Done in the next episode, and that should get the base system pretty much wrapped up. After that, we may add in some animations and stuff. I'm not sure yet. We'll kind of see from there. But yeah, it looks like next episode should be the final episode for the base system for the grapple system. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do me a favor, if you haven't, hit that like and subscribe. It really helps out. I appreciate all the support. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.